Hi everyone, welcome to Outdoor Bound TV. I'm Kurt Walbeck. In 1995, the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources, along with the Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation and several other organizations, set out on a plan to reintroduce elk to the northwoods of Wisconsin, utilizing primarily private donations. Well, the reintroduction was a success, and in 2018, Wisconsin held its very first elk hunt with just 10 tags available on draw. This year, Lydia Pernsteiner from Medford, Wisconsin made history by becoming the first woman to ever draw the tag. We'll get a chance to tag along with her as she heads to the Clam Lake area for the opener of the Wisconsin elk season. She's hoping to hang her tag on a big mature Wisconsin bull. Let's meet her right now.
I'm Lydia Pernsteiner. I live in Medford now, but I originally grew up in Cadott, and we lived on a farm, so I was always farming. But yeah, like that was our biggest reward, was like hunting season, you know, where we'd like get the full week off of school, and my brother and I was, you know, we lived for that. So like get up super early, milk cows, and hunt all day, all 9 days. It was like Holy Week, so. I've been married to my husband, Nick, for, well, it'll be 10 years in October now. We have 3 kids, and right now I work at Marathon Cheese. I'm a machine operator, and I'm going to school right now for an RN, so busy, you know, full-time work, school, being mom, and trying to get all the fun stuff in, like hunting, camping, and fishing. This is the opening morning for the elk hunt, and it's a bit chilly, and we had some snow flurries, but we spotted some elk that we're gonna try to go and move in on, and hopefully maybe we'll see him to check him out, see if he's a good one or not. So how I came about applying for the elk tag was Nick and I were coming back from Eau Claire. I'm on my phone and I get this email from the DNR saying that, oh, last day to apply for the Wisconsin Elk Tag. And I'm like, heck, you know, I'll donate my $10. So then it was second week of June or something like that. Kevin from the DNR in Madison, he called me at work that day and he's like, you are the first woman. So I'm like, sweet. Got something more to, you know, to look forward to, so.
Now, if we can work him, if he just starts getting vocal, I'll get him to come right to that first little pine tree right there to you.
For applying for Wisconsin, like only the residents can apply right now. So, and they only give away 10. So they give away 5 tribals, and then 4 go to like a lottery, then 1 goes to the Rocky Mountain Foundation. And I was one of the lucky 4. So in order to be able to buy your tag, you had to do a mandatory class. So we had to go up there in September, beginning of September. It was a very informative class. I'm glad, you know, that like they do it that way, because it does inform you. It tells you how like they brought about the herd to Wisconsin, how they got established, how many we got, you know, and the basic, you know, what they're trying to do to control the herds and keep them up, make them grow. And then after all that was done, we got to go out there with Lane, and we walked through and he was calling them, and literally called this bull in like 25, 30 yards from us. And he's like, looks at Nick, he's like, this is the time where you might want to start looking for a tree. And I'm like, what? You know, besides in like a fence or anything, I've never seen a wild elk like that close up in person. I was like, dang. So yeah, it was awesome. we woke up on Sunday. It had snowed like all that night, and it was like wet and heavy snow. It was a lot of it. So we were walking through this stuff, like all the tree branches were just hanging down, and they were just covered. And there was all kinds of elk sign marks, like they're here. There's tracks everywhere. Most of the cows and stuff did have collars on them, which they do, you know, track the collars, because even when we went out with Lane, the biologist, he's like, oh, he's like got them all on his, you know, little GPS thing. He's like, oh, yep, they're right here. But yeah, they do track them, and when they do have highway signs or road signs that say elk crossing or whatever, but they have lights. So when they're within so many yards, those lights will start flashing and going off to warn cars and stuff, just to try to stop the mortality of getting them hit. So the trick is to get them off the road so you can have like a shot at them, but you know, they are way smarter than what they look like. They never left the roads. So yeah, that was one of the biggest challenges. We would see these huge, you know, bulls, and like they just would not leave the road.
We were sneaking in, of course, the old lead cow picked us out and busted us. We have all kinds of beds right here on this little knob. We're gonna continue on and see if we can pick them back up again without bumping them too much. Hopefully we can get that big guy that's in this batch.
Outdoor Bound TV is brought to you by Mission Crossbows and HHA Sports.
Where we were hunting is up in Clam Lake, Wisconsin. So that is where they established the first original herd, which now they have brought in like 150 more over the past 5 years and dropped them. We have some in down by Black River Falls now, and then they just dropped a bunch in the Flambeau up there in Rusk County. But we weren't allowed to hunt them herds, like them are just, they're trying to establish them and get them going, so. But yeah, like when you're up there, you're like 30 miles away from Hayward, so it is so desolate. You literally get service like in Clam Lake, and that's it. There's no service, no nothing. It is, yeah, it's a dead zone up there. But I mean, I guess, you know, there's no electronics to bother you. It's you in nature. So the habitat up there is, they've been logging off a lot of and clear cutting stuff, so the elk really thrive on stuff like that, the tops of the popples and stuff like that. There's a lot of woods, swamps, and a few lakes here and there, but it's, yeah, definitely it was a good spot to drop them because up there, like, they just thrive. There was sign everywhere. There was tracks, there was rubs, and it was just like, we know we gotta see some here. And it was just that, you know, waiting, anticipation. I'm like, they gotta be here.
All right, it's day 3, and we're gonna go put a stalk on some elk down there that we've seen, so hopefully we can see the big boy that's sitting in there.
So once we got back there, we'd seen the cow and the 2 spikes, and we're just like, okay, finally, we found some here. So we decided to put the stalk on them, and we were moving in and like into, you know, hopes that there's a big boy there.
So we were stalking up on them little spikes down there, and we heard a couple bugles. So we decided to come around and make this loop around to see if we could see anything. But we haven't heard anything yet. So we're just gonna keep moving on. Kind of hoping to put a stalk on him to see if there was a bigger boy down here, but it doesn't look like it unless he's still laying low, but we'll see.
We got up there, and yeah, it was just the cow and the 2 spikes. I didn't want to, you know, pull the trigger on the first, you know, young bull that I seen. I wanted a old, mature bull. There are a lot of young potential bulls and a lot of old ones, so I had my heart set on one of those old, mature bulls. He just wasn't there yet. So opening weekend had come to an end, and it was just the snow and the wind, and we just couldn't get on them. So we did make plans to come back up. You know, I worked weekend, or, you know, some weekends, so we weren't gonna come up the next weekend. It was the following whole week I had off. So we had left that Friday and headed back up there knowing that I had the whole week off, because granted that you get like 39 days to hunt, I literally only had a weekend, like 1 full week off and weekends to hunt. So I knew I couldn't be super picky, but I still knew in the back of my mind, like, I want a mature bull. So that's what I had my heart set on. We tried to get on this one that, it was a 4x5, you know, he was pretty nice, but same thing. Threw us to sleep early in the morning, and then Mark's like, all right, let's go regroup and just get back on track here. So, and we were driving around and scouting, glassing, looking. Then finally, mid-afternoon, Mark's like, we need to split up. So Nick ended up going one way. I jumped in the truck and with Mark, and we went another way, and we were all over. It was just no, call Nick anything? No. And we're like, us either. So then Mark's like, it was getting about 4:30. Mark's like, well, let's go back and check this one spot. He's like, we checked opening weekend, but we haven't even went back there this whole time. So unfortunately, I did not have a cameraman with me. So I did have the Tacticam on my gun. And so Nick gave me the whole like spiel, like, hey, this is the new one. You just got to push the button or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I got this. Yeah, needless to say, I like totally paused it while I was up there. We were driving back there. It's this like little snake log road. And we get back there and I'm like, Mark, I'm like, there's one standing right there. He's like, what? He gets his binoculars up, he's looking, he's like, ooh, that's a nice one. And he's like, he's like, what do you think? He's like, it's totally up to you. He's like, I'm not gonna, sway you one way or the other. He's like, but it's a nice bow. I'm like, I like it, let's go. We got within probably 75, 80 yards of him or whatever, and he was kind of walking. Mark's like, all right, jump up in the woods there. And so I'm all ready, and I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden Mark's like, all right, anytime you're ready, just take a shot. So yeah, I pulled the trigger. He didn't flinch, he didn't move, he didn't do nothing. I'm like, there's no way I missed. I'm like, I held right on him. So Mark's like, shoot him again. So I like ejected and I put it up there again and I shot again. But no, this elk, I was like totally amazed. Like, didn't even flinch, did nothing. Like, I don't even think he knew it hit him. At that point in time, I think Mark was more excited than me, because he's like, oh my goodness, you just got him, he's down. And I'm like, it's not setting in yet, until I like get up there or whatever. He's like, let's go, he's kind of like half, running through the woods. I'm like, whoa, Mark, I can't keep up to you. And then, we get up there and like, just to put my hands around his horns, I'm like, this thing is huge. And I'm like, like, you think like a whitetail, you just go up there and you're just gonna like slide him up there, get some pitch it. Nuh-uh. I could not move him. He was huge.
First Wisconsin elk. Hell yeah.
First woman.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Woohoo!
I told Mark, I gotta run back and call Nick, because he wasn't with us. He was still out scouting for other ones. So I called Nick or whatever, and he's like, you did what? Like, I just shot one. So yeah, he was pretty psyched too. So, and we called the biologist, got him coming out. He was I think he was in Hayward. So it took him about an hour to get there. So we aged him and everything. He figured he was over 12 and starting to go downhill. So he said, a very good bull to get out of the herd. That made me super excited to hear that. Like, I didn't take a a young one or anything like that. So yeah, he was just, even his molars were all like ground down to nothing, and so I was pretty happy.
Outdoor Bound TV is brought to you by Rapala and PK Lures.
We were bummed that we couldn't have a cameraman along with Lydia when she harvested that great bull there in Wisconsin. This reintroduction program is a perfect example of what happens when organizations get together, raise money, and work towards a common goal. Congratulations, Lydia, on that great bull, and congratulations for going down in history as the first woman to successfully tag a bull in the Wisconsin Elk Hunt program. And folks, we hope that you'll join us again here next week when we'll bring you more great hunting and fishing action from around the U.S., around Canada, and around the world, right here on Outdoor Bound TV. Promotional consideration provided for Outdoor Bound TV by Flat Creek Lodge, our home away from home in Hayward, Wisconsin.
Outdoor Bound TV is brought to you by Matthews Archery and Vortex Optics.
Silent
at your phone.
I can't, I'm speechless.
It was the het webby, or het and heavy snow. Oh my goodness. If not, you can cut her out. All right, okay, wait, what do I gotta say again? It's a Clam Lake thing. These are gonna be the bloopers, aren't they?
Outdoor Bound TV is brought to you by Yakima Bait Company and Tooth Tamer Rods.